one of the stages that I need to get through. And I know that I'm upset and can recognize my anger, but I need
What is anger?
I have not released the anger.
What is anger?
Pain for me right now. Okay. The anger that I'm feeling is pain.
Getting
yes,
angry
I'm
isn't doing anything.
But I want to release the pain through anger.
But
okay.
Why? Why through anger?
That's because I want to see some results from my frustration. I want to see some damage and some effects done through my fucking anger, through the release. I want to see it fucking happen.
Because you're angry right now is why you're saying that.
Yeah, and I want to see it come true. Like all my other hard work, eventually it takes a long time to get to the fruit of that labor. And I've just been holding it in.
I get it.
Holding it in.
I know. I completely understand.
So I'm going to decide a healthy way to release it, but I'm going to be in a whole different mindset here for the next few months. So
that's great. I'm glad that you're going to be in a different mindset. I just mean when you're basing it off of anger, I understand verbalizing that to yourself in a different way.
I need to be angry to get through what I need to get through. I don't think because I'm not telling you to not be upset. I think it's a good drive. I don't think it's a good place to stay. And I understand what you're saying. Yeah. I just think if I only go off of addressing the pain and trying to deal with that, then I feel like you
have to let some stuff out in order to, if that works for you, if pushing yourself to a place of anger to get yourself started, that's great. Yes. If you stay there, that means whatever is making you angry is winning. Right.
And still driving you. Right. I don't want to give the shit.
Well, it can drive you. It can drive you to fucking be super successful and everything. But you're still going to have that anger with you, which means you're still going to have the resentment, which means you're still going to have all of the problems are staying with you. Yeah. If you use the anger to get up off your ass and change, that's great. If you keep it with you the whole time, that's where the problem lies.
Yeah. I don't want to.
Then you become a cynical person.
Right.
And the person or thing or whatever that's hurt you is winning.
And I don't want to give those things power. I just don't think I've ever actually let out in full frustration. I don't think I've ever let out in full frustration that I
take your headphones off.
Am that angry.
I don't need headphones to talk. This episode is brought to you by Construction Coffee Co. Go to constructioncoffeeco.com. A company that knows exactly what kind of fuel you need when the day starts too early and ends too late. They're not just slapping a label on cheap beans. This stuff is roasted with real grit, made for people who move, build, and stay busy. You've got blends like Crack of Dawn to kickstart the day, Sparky's Nightmare for the ones who live in chaos, and King of the Castle for anyone who runs the site or just thinks they do. And it's not just coffee. They've got gear too. Mugs, tees, stickers, hats. Tough enough for the job site, clean enough to wear on your day off. More blends are on the way, and they're just getting started. So if you want to support a crew that actually gives a damn about what they're making, check out constructioncoffeeco.com. Construction Coffee Co. Clock in, drink up, shut up.
Cass & Co. Upscale Thrift is redefining resale. Think timeless fashion, luxury brands, and curated pieces. All at prices that let you stay stylish without the splurge. Whether you're hunting for vintage classics or this season's designer staples, we'll make high-end accessible. Dress like you own the runway for a fraction of the price.
This is what happened. Like that's great too, but it all has to feel natural. So that's what I kind of wanted to talk about is the fact that we launched and things were fucking great. Like the response from everybody, the support, the love from everybody was fantastic. And I didn't expect any of it. It was super weird for me. And this whole entire thing is super weird.
I agree.
I'm not somebody who wants to put myself out there.
No.
There's just been this urge and this gut feeling that I want to keep this moving. And I was actually talking to my therapist on Friday about the fact that a lot of people, when they have an idea, it gets brushed off. And I've had tons of ideas. All of us have that have gotten brushed off after 2-3 days of not doing anything about them. And this idea has stuck with me for, almost 6 months. Almost 6 years. Mm-hmm. And I told him, I said, well, there's got to be a reason for that, right? And he's like, yeah. He's like, I can't tell you, what to believe in and whatnot. And I've been leaning more into God lately. And I think that me and you have had those kind of talks where it seems as if there are signs that are telling us that we're on the right path, even
Mhm.
though I'm Ricky Bobby with my hands fucking up in the air. I don't know what to do with them.
I could do a whole podcast on signs that I think
Yeah.
have been delivered,
I've had-
and how many of them I'm getting my revelation and I'm getting my answer, and then I choose to argue with that, or in
Exactly.
my own way. Like, I choose to deny what I know to be true. And
Yeah, and
you
I
know.
think a lot of that, a lot of those signs have, they've been there really early. I mean, I don't think I'm ready to talk about the one that really fucked me up, and I still feel like I will talk about it eventually. I'll talk about it in the
Yeah,
next
we
few
have to go
episodes.
through all
But
that right now.
no, I
It's
just mean,
we could definitely unpack
Yeah.
that whole issue.
yeah,
you know?
and I think running away from those signs sometimes is natural, because it feels like there's something like supernatural about it. It feels like there's some other force that's there,
Mhm.
and it's not familiar, because it's not like if you had a sign every day, it would be familiar and you wouldn't listen to it anyway.
Yeah, I'm very careful now when I'm asking for direction or guidance, to also ask for the discernment to be able to understand that that is a message for me,
Mm-hmm.
because sometimes I don't catch it until afterwards.
Yeah.
And then other times when I've done that and then I get the answer, it holds me more accountable to, like, hey, this is the answer. Even if you don't like it, this is the answer that you got.
I found that, like, to your point, I found that being thankful for everything realizes that there's a lot of lessons every day.
Mhm.
Like, I I think when I like fucked up my ankle last year, I was running ragged, and I like wrote in my notebook and I talked to God for a second. And this is when I didn't have that big of a relationship, and I still don't, and I'm working on that. And I don't expect anybody to, follow path to God or Jesus or whatever. I don't even know where I'm at
Yeah,
right
this
now.
isn't a recruiting
Yeah.
session,
But finding some kind of faith in something, the universe, any deity, anything that you can find to kind of talk to have a third party there might help you. But I found, like, even after when I broke my ankle last year, or two, fuck man, it might have been 3 years ago now. I had asked the night before for a break, and I needed to slow down. And then I fucked my ankle up in a boot for 8 weeks, maybe longer. And it was just a hairline fracture. So it's not like they could do anything with it.
yeah.
And I was cursing at everything around me. I'm like, I am so fucking busy right now. How the fuck am I going to break my ankle? How am I, like, what am I supposed to do? How am I supposed to move through all of this stuff? And then it happened to me like maybe 3 months ago. And I did the same thing where it was like, I really need to just like have a second to myself. I can't remember what it is. And I'm sure if I asked Cassidy, she would know. But the sign was there. It's like, here's your sign.
Yeah.
Like, here is your slowdown that you're asked for. It just doesn't come how you want it to.
Yeah, that is one thing I've realized over time, is that sometimes it takes the hindsight. I think that's why it's important to be mindful of your direction as you're moving through, like, life in general, because if you are concentrating on, like, your actions and the way that you're speaking to yourself and perceiving things, it makes it easier to recognize things. And no matter what happens, if you're maintaining that same track, then, like, down the road, it does make a little more sense.
Yeah.
But it's really hard to stay on that track,
Fuck yeah.
especially if it's like an adverse event. There's lots of stuff that I've gotten, that I've asked for, that came through pain and came through.
I think that's one of the biggest channels that it comes through.
Yeah, I'm not a fan.
No, I don't think anybody's a fan of how much pain teaches us and how much maybe the signs that we ask for come through that.
Yeah, I think one thing I realized as I was going through some hard stuff was that, as much as I dislike pain and discomfort, it's one of the only, like, there's only a couple of real raw emotions that you get to experience that take you to such a depth, that you have a different outlook on life completely, like rocking you at your core. For the people that have depression, I know when I've been, down on things, it's like, because you're looking at life in such a a deep way, and how, you're unhappy with it, and you're looking at the fragility of it in a way where you're kind of analyzing how delicate life is because you're on that edge, and it's one of the only ways to really get that, unless it's like a like near death experience or some sort of situation that like takes you there. Even just sitting in those sad feelings, you're like on the edge, and you have a heightened awareness to those things compared to other people, and it can be used for good, but it sucks.
Yeah, it sucks. I put that in my post too when I said that I think that strong emotions are good for people, and I really do. I think people should experience being sad. I don't want anybody to go to where I have been and where so many others have been and haven't made it back out. But it doesn't mean I don't want people to experience what depression and anxiety is. I hope that they don't have to, but at the same time, you get some kind of clarity as to what life is. I've had people call me, and I've had one in particular call me, and he's been there since the beginning of all of this. He's been there since the beginning of my life, the childhood, and I would always tell him about how hard it is and how shitty things felt and how bad depression was. And he called me up one day and was like, "Fuck you." And I was like, what's going on? And he's like, "Fuck you for saying that I would never feel this way." Because it was such a envious thing for me. I would see him and he would move through life like on to the next thing. If something wasn't making him happy, it didn't bother him. Didn't seem to, at least. And we talked about it. He's like, "No, I just, moved through life and it is what it is," kind of thing. And so he called me one day after something, bad had happened in his life, and it really rocked him. And he's like, "Is this what it's like?" And I was like, "That's what it's like for me every fucking day." And I have to fight myself out of that battle every fucking day. And I know that's something that stuck with me, because I want people to understand what it's like, to understand what we want to do. I want people to understand what it's like, because they get the perspective of how terrible things can be and how everybody needs a hand and how we all need to treat each other a little more kind.
Yeah. And I mean,
a little more understanding. You never know what someone's going through.
I was going to say that you never know where somebody's really at with it,
Somebody could be flying.
Things.
Somebody could be flying down in traffic, and you're like, "Fuck that guy." Why is he fucking acting like that when he could be racing because his daughter just got into a fucking car accident? You don't know where people are in life. You don't know the things that they're going through. And there are evil, mean fucking people there all the time. And they come in and out of your life. But in the grand scheme of things, everybody has their own shit going on, and everybody's importance to those things going on means the absolute world to them. Whether that's, I'm going to be late for work and I have to fly around this guy, or like I need to race and get that parking spot, or I need to be the first in line at the grocery store and you cut somebody off, or like, while those people aren't being self-aware, it's still the most important thing in the world to them at that time. Yeah.
So if you're driving along in traffic right now and listening to this, and somebody cuts you off and pisses you off, just let it ride. Let it ride.
Yeah. Just fly. That there will be some cutoffs.
I'd love to do.
There's gonna be some cutoff videos of this motherfucker.
What are the rooms called?
What? Oh, the
rage room.
I told you.
Can we get down with the rage room in here? I'd love to. I'd love to paint. Really love to paint a new mural.
I don't know why you're so self-conscious about this mural. I think everybody. I mean, we've gotten great things back.
I wish I could do it. Like I wish I could. I've tattooed and I've done other artwork, and I'd like to design stuff here and whatnot. But I'd really love to, like, if I could paint murals and that be something that I did on a regular basis to take care of myself, I would really enjoy that. I think.
But you hate what you did here.
I'd like to do it differently. That's just how I am. I think I'm very critical of
I think it
myself
looks
as an
great.
artist.
Everybody was texting me and say that the table looks like a raft in the river.
Oh, that's
and
sweet.
I was like, man,
Didn't
that's
even think
really
about
cool.
that.
I put this here. I got this type of table for that reason. So I was glad that the height had worked out.
Glad it all came together.
Just a
It's
couple
still
more
not
years.
done. In case you didn't know, there's still stuff there that I need to do to finish it. But
Yeah, and you know, getting back to that, when people are talking to us and about this and the support that we got, I'm beyond grateful for everybody, and for the people who have, you know, reached out. Thank you. This is such a weird experience for the people who are ordering things. Thank you. You know, you guys are supporting everything that we have going on. I can't do this all for free anymore. And it's been a long step to get here, and we're going to have more designs. We're going to have more hats. We're going to have, but in reality, you know, we're doing things that are bigger, and I think we're going to talk about them. We are going to talk about, you know, our future and what we plan to do.
Got some things
we're going to talk about that today, but I do want to just say thank you, like, to everybody. And, you know, it was the most vulnerable thing in the world. I don't think so. I'll break.
Can I admit something to you?
Yeah. What's up?
I haven't actually watched the full playback.
Well, that's
of
a
the
good
podcast
thing. We're not supposed to watch
because I hate it.
Yeah.
The 15 minutes that I watched, I hated the way that I spoke. I hated the way that I looked. I was not clear, just like that. Not clear about what I'm trying to communicate. You know.
Yeah.
Something that I could say in 30 seconds, like, and I'll clarify here for everyone about my whole thing about self-esteem, right? Self-esteem is compromised of two things, right? Your self-efficacy, which is the way that you affect the world around you and your ability to affect the world. The second thing is how positive or negative those things are. So if you're doing things that are positive in your life, clearly having an effect, negative things clearly having an effect, but you're more capable of affecting the world around you than you realize. Everybody's self-esteem is higher than they realize. It's just a matter of understanding if your actions are positive or not, correlating to the results that you're getting. And those results are going to dictate how you feel about yourself.
Right.
That's all. That's all I meant to say.
There's your reel for it. And, you know, clearing things up is great. And we're just going to get better at this. I know me and you talked when we were working in here for a week. You know, our podcasts are a week behind right now. Eventually, when we have the team to be able to help and we're doing all the bigger stuff that we're going to do and what we're going to talk about today, we'll be able to, you know, bring them out as the weeks go on. But you had texted me who taught me to talk with all I knows, and then I was like, it's just a thing that, and you're gonna focus on it, you know. And then you're like, well, I hope the next one isn't like that. And I was like, oh no, it is. They're all like that, and you're gonna focus on it. It's gonna get worse before it gets better. But the point is that we're trying to put our lives and all of the lessons that we've lived. And I'm only 31, and I'm sitting here talking like I've had all of these, like, and I know there's so much more to come.
Yeah.
I just, we're putting ourselves out there and knowing that, like, the point of this was to make ourselves vulnerable, which keeps us accountable to what we're saying, because we're putting it on video, putting it on audio, and we're saying that we want to help people because deep down we really fucking do.
Yeah. I mean, my favorite thing to do is have conversations that get somewhere on a deeper level, and figuring myself out and how I interact with the world and go through life.
Yeah.
It's my favorite kind of conversation to have, you know, and I think we get along well because we naturally have those types of conversations.
Yeah. We talk more about ideas than people.
I might be
and
a
I
little
think
older.
a lot of people would benefit from that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I'm definitely maybe a little more seasoned, and that not all of that is good, you know.
Yeah.
It's for a lot of hard lessons and bad choices. I'm not a perfect person. I have made really bad choices. I've hurt good people.
I think we can all say that.
You know, and I understand the way that I affect things in the world around me, and I don't feel good about all of it. But I have been on a mission for a long time to try and learn from my mistakes and my bad choices to develop myself. And I enjoy talking to other people about what they're going through. And if we can relate to people in some way, you know, that's beneficial in any way, even if it's just recommending a book or, you know, like anything, it's been helpful to be able to listen to other people, and it's been helpful to be able to get some guidance. You know, I don't expect everybody to give me the exact answer, but help in the right direction is always a good thing and nice to have. And, I know we're not doing this to like gain clout. It really is to help people because we don't want people to experience some of the things that we've experienced, and I
Yeah.
hate it. I hate being on the
Oh,
camera.
that's what I was
don't
gonna
want to
say.
be
I
an
mean,
influencer. I don't want any part of it at all. Like I hate it. I don't even
Yeah.
want to put my name on it, and you know that.
Yeah.
But I know that I enjoy, like, I want to do things for other people that I want to do for my kids.
Mhm.
I want to be able to help anybody that I can. It
Yeah.
makes you feel good versus just going and punching a clock.
Yeah, and I think like I mean that's the point, right? And we're sitting here in the first one and I'm like, and I watched the second one and I watched all the other shit we recorded and I'm over here like this and trying not to show the fact that I'm fucking overweight right now. But the point is that, I I know that and I'm not just I'm on a path to losing weight and getting back to the healthy side of who I am. And that's for me. And like my brain will tell myself, "Oh, you're on camera. You need to adjust yourself, this and that." And I do it, and I do it out in public. And Cassie will tell me like, "Hey, you look fine," and I'm like, "I know. And I have to keep catching myself in the fact that I know that I'm not where I am, but I'm working towards it, and I have to keep reminding myself that like the likes, the ums, the I knows, the constant thinking of how things work. I mean, that's the point of this. The point of this is for me and you to work through things that some people might be going on in their head and just catch one person and be like, "Oh shit, they're figuring it out with me." Like this is never a I'm figuring it out by myself kind of situation. I have those talks with myself. But if people can hear me and you talk and we come through to a realization or we find a tool for somebody to use and they're listening to it and they need that tool at that moment, then great. That's what we're trying to do, especially with the podcast.
Yeah. And it'll all relate, I think, as we go on and we're able to, like, I know we have different things in the works that we're going to be doing that are going to be even more beneficial to people. And it just kind of ties in. Like, you don't have to have it all together to figure things out and be a part of anything. You can literally start with any of this at any point in time, in any stage of life and feeling that you're
Yeah.
having. And the point is to just create a community.
Yeah, I just want a community of people helping each other. And so like if people are looking to, support us and stuff, and this is the part that I hate. This is the part of the influencer that I hate. I'm not here to show you a fake side of me and prove that I'm happy all the time and this. Like you're going to see us in these vulnerable moments and you're going to see us work through shit and like you guys liking things and sharing things and talking with us on the page and sharing the reels or just subscribing, any of it helps us. Going on the website, wearing the t-shirts, wearing the hats, buying the notebooks, doing the work, trying out the B.A.D operation, or at least just sharing it to somebody who might be able that might find it useful and might be able to help themselves. Like we really are trying to do that. I'm not trying to just sit here and make money off of people buying shirts and hats. And I hate, dude, the one, like I had to make a post after I made the post about the podcast. The next day I had to make a post saying that we had shit for sale.
Well, I think part of that though, just to like clarify for everyone, is that part of the artwork that we're creating, that we're trying to put out there, is inspired a lot in times of heightened emotion, right?
Absolutely.
Like I do a lot of my best artwork when I'm in a pretty rough state of mind, you know what I mean? And
that's where a lot of good art comes from. Yeah.
So we're trying to put that stuff out there because it means something, and we want to bring awareness to what we're doing and bring people in because we have bigger ideas and bigger things we want to do.
Yeah, and
it just takes time getting there.
Yeah, and if you go to the website, like it's limited right now, and it's sharing our brand because we have to build it. We have to do something to create this name for ourselves so people can trust our word that we want to be able to help people. We want to be able to help people out of depression, out of anxiety. We want to be able to teach people the tools that we've used and the tools that we're learning to use to help everyone worldwide. Yeah. I like my heart is too big sometimes, and my heart is big enough to where I want to just help everyone. And I know that between talk therapy and all of this, like that's a very big goalpost to try and get to, because everybody is a lot of people.
Yeah. Well, and there's different ways to do it. You know,
Right.
we can communicate like this, and hopefully that helps. We have the operation. I think that's great because
It's a one step forward thing.
I'm an example of somebody that is struggling. I've had to restart every week for the last 4 weeks because I've let something slip by choice, you know. And
but the point is you're continuing to start.
Yeah,
back over
I
again.
realize that I need to be more disciplined, and I want to live the life, you know, that I have in the past in terms of my discipline and routine. And I felt really good when I was in sync with all that. And I think it makes it really easy the way we have it laid out.
Yeah.
So the goal is to help people through that, through our conversations, and then also be able to put on events and do different collaborations with people and build something up with it, which is also in the works. But it's just a matter of
and we can get into
time and putting things together. I mean, we can talk about
and we can get into talking about, you know, our events and stuff, and, you know, like our steps. We're not really sure how they're going to lay out. Like, we are taking this as it comes in, and the best thing that everybody can do is just support us and comment and talk with us and see what we're doing right, what we're doing wrong. You know,
nice comments, please.
If you can. Yeah, we can't take much.
I don't like the way I look either. So.
I don't think anybody's thinking that. But I just mean, like, when you're talking about our artwork and stuff, like, that was a big goal for me and Matt when we first started this, is talking about how we wanted other artists. Like, I'm not that great of an artist, I know that, but I have the ideas in my head. I've got tons of notebooks filled with art and stuff that we want to put up for posters, that we want to put up on t-shirts, that we want to put on hats, like all of these messages and all of these like word-based tools that we're going to be releasing as lines of you know, of products. And really what they are is just small reminders, or just a piece that you carry around with you to let somebody else know that is looking at you for half a second, you know, that has that cliche on it, that someone goes, oh man, I really need to wake up and be in the present moment.
Yeah, you know, anything that, like,
and so we are going to have other artists who have been through mental health struggles. We're going to have them come in and make art that depicts what they've been through, and then they can choose to tell their story behind it. So our t-shirts and like all of our designs are going to come out, and they're going to be more or less stories rather than just art pieces. And so I mean, I appreciate everybody buying everything right now, because right now we have a very baseline of everything that we're doing. It's just kind of there to, like, we need to make sure that we're bringing in something in order to help us continue to grow. And so, like, when I say continue to grow, our next step is we're going to have to be going to like farmers markets and pop-ups at art fairs, and really just getting our brand name out. And everybody helps with that by sharing and subscribing and blah, blah, blah. All of the bullshit stuff that I hate talking about.
Yeah. And we've also got some good collaborations. I think we're going to try and work on that.
Yeah.
We'll get people involved, you know, physically somewhere to come, and whether it's some sort of training, exercise, class, whatever it may be, we want to really get something facilitated with people where we can all come together and have like the physical community along with
and teach those lessons and stuff. And you know, we're going to start off with that. And when you say collaborations and stuff, like, that was the goal, is to work with gyms, to work with boxing places, jiu-jitsu, you know, gyms, rock climbing gyms, not just physically, but they're not just physical activities, but work with like art classes and
journaling,
pop-ups, learning how to journal, learning how to do these tools. And, you know, we're not asking for anything like between us. We just want to connect with that. We want to connect with people who are also trying to help people. We're just trying to do it on a grand scheme. We're trying to be almost like a dictionary of resources for people to go to. And so when we talk about doing events and stuff in and around people's towns and cities, our goal is to talk to people who have businesses established there and try to connect them with healthy activities. And in turn, maybe they would give some kind of, you know, discount or something if we threw people there for our listeners, for our customers. Like, I don't, that's between us and the business, and that's between the business and if they can afford it, whatever. But I just mean, like, if we're going into a city and there's places to go kayaking, and there, we have a kayaking rental
places for healthy distractions,
and we just want to be able to connect with them, and we're working on that. We're talking to people day in and day out, trying to make that happen. And from there, we want to be throwing on our own events. You know, I want to do a pop-up skate, a skate park, the half pipe on a trailer, and roll up
myself.
To it. Yeah, I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about just rolling up to a skate park and being like, hey guys, come swing on the half pipe. So, sign the waiver, but come swing on the half pipe. And like, I really want to be throwing on events to where we're bringing people into like a rock climbing gym and we get to teach them. The biggest thing though with our events is I want to have a place afterwards to express, hey, we just did this physical activity together. We just learned something new together. Even if this doesn't work for you, how did it make you feel? And what can you do now to keep that momentum of feeling good pushed further?
Trying something new, right? Learning a new skill.
Yeah. And so, like, basically, I mean, my vision behind it would be us doing the activity and then going back to, or someplace in the facility, going back there and sitting and having the bonfire talk.
Yeah, I mean, I think we'd like to have a facility to be able to bring people out.
That's the ultimate goal.
And have these workshops and training sessions and retreats. You know, we really want to make it its own.
That is that is the ultimate goal. And our goal is to use the landscape to help with that too. Someplace out west, someplace out east, and we're like where the landscape is a little bit more difficult to move through. And that way we can go out hiking, we can go out mountain climbing, we can go out rock climbing, we can, have our facility where people can come in and learn new skills. We can have jiu-jitsu seminars. We can have whatever seminars we need to in a place that people can come to us and come all around the United States and hopefully all around the world eventually, where people can go to and they can get the help that they need.
A mental health rehab.
Yeah, a mental health rehab. And, we're trying to get it to the point where it won't cost much for anybody to come in and use the week-long thing or month-long thing.
The goal eventually is to be able to make sure that everybody can access it, if they want to, no matter what their position is at.
Yeah.
Or what position they're in.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the biggest things that I want people to understand is that we're not just sitting here trying to be like, we're doing big things. I just want people to understand, our goal.
I actually don't like that, just to put that out there. I don't like that we're saying it. I'm a big fan of not talking about what you're going to do.
Yeah.
I've tried to not talk about what we're going to do here for a long time, but it's a really good, it's a really good message. I think what we're trying to do is really built with the best of intentions. And when I think things are done that way, it's okay to talk about what your goals are,
Yeah, and I just want people to understand. I don't care if people stay tuned. I don't care. Like, I really deep down don't care about the views. I just want to be able to help the right people. And I want, in order for us to do that, we need the supportive community. And I think we're already receiving it. And I'm so fucking thankful for it. Like,
I wouldn't know because I don't want to watch it. So I haven't even seen how many people have watched.
I haven't sat there and looked at the analytics, and it's scary, dude. Like, the amount of shit that you can tell, the back door of the website, I can tell, like, not who, but I can tell how many visitors are on, and you can pull up a map and it'll pop around wherever. And the moment that I started realizing how much analytics it'll show you, your brain starts to go, oh, those need to be pumped up. Oh, those need to be pumped up. And I quit looking at it. So I post and delete. And by delete, I mean I post it and I delete the shit off my phone and I don't look at it anymore. And I'll pop back in to make some comments and love everybody's stuff because what people are saying is great. And I absolutely love it.
Yeah, I haven't been on social media myself really at all since we dropped.
It is by far the biggest struggle. I think I have not had in the last 4 years prior, and it has been a huge benefit of my life, that I have not been on social media as much as I used to 4 years prior.
Yeah, it definitely, when I spend too much time on it, I think that there's so much pushed on people in terms of how they should feel about different situations that influence them. You could be at the gas station and talk about somebody else breaking up, or they're going through some situation, and you'll be at home that night and you're going to start getting, different reels in your algorithm about breakups, and you're going to get fed a bunch of shit from social media that pushes you in that direction. It wants to feed you more information based off of what you're talking about and thinking about. And I've watched it destroy relationships.
It's not a free, it's not a free society because we're not in that big of a free society because we're being influenced all the time.
Influenced heavily.
And so if I can say anything, it's shut this podcast off and throw your phone in a river.
That would be a great thing. But there's always the but.
Yeah, but in general, we need it. But yeah, I mean, I really think that people would benefit, to just getting on once in a while. Stop the TikTok reels, stop the shit that is going to help us. Just stop it, because I promise you, it'll make you feel better.
Yeah, it's a mindless distraction. There are times that you can utilize it for your benefit, absolutely.
Yeah,
but
the
I don't majority of people, myself included,
that's what I was about to say,
stuck in some doom scrolling.
Yeah,
and feeling down on my situation, getting in my head, and then I've spent an hour or two, having looked at stuff, got me worked up or thinking. And then when I get done, I'm in a fog. I wasted time that I could have actually done something positive in my physical life that I can't get back.
Yeah.
And now I'm even more upset because then I wasted that time.
Yeah. And I want to, stress to everybody that if you have one moment in the middle of staring at a reel, if you have even if you just have the thought, that's to get off of your phone, that's growth. And if you can keep trying to push in those thoughts, eventually you'll put your phone down for 5 seconds and then you'll pick it back up.
Yeah, I mean, if you really want to spend the time on there,
it will help you eventually.
Yeah, if you want to really spend the time on it, to all my trades friends and trades guys that I know, use it to your benefit. Take a long bathroom break, then watch our podcast and get paid on company time to watch.
Yeah. No, man, I think
pooping with purpose.
Yeah. What's that song? It's not the song. It's like I just like GIF of Elmo sitting on the toilet. What is that? It's like
oh, I know what you're talking about.
You know what I mean? Pooping on company time. What is that? It's
something
in the comments. Let us know what it is.
What is it?
Yeah.
Something.
Oh, no. Boss makes $1, I make a dime. That's why I poop on company time.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, exactly.
I just I always have Elmo, that GIF of Elmo sitting in there. I want to, get kind of into where I was for launch day. It was funny. So we went up north. We did that whole, I did the whole spending time with family. Matt and Katie got engaged. Congratulations, guys. Yeah. Absolutely love it.
Yeah.
It was a really good time. I spent
fireworks were great.
Fireworks were fantastic. Ludington always does a great job.
Do a good job up there. No, actually, no.
What?
They do a terrible job. Keep your families at
keep
home.
Keep everybody away.
Don't go to the fireworks in Ludington. It's just not worth the traffic and the smelly people and all that. Oh, the water
and all
stinks.
Of the
Just stay away. But anyhow.
Yeah, so it's really not worth it. Stay off the beach because there's simply too many people.
You can go up there, but the beach, you just want to stay away from the beach. Basically.
Because that's where I watch it from. Went up there, did some journaling, tried to get the podcast all edited and stuff, and
in the middle of nowhere,
internet doesn't work. You ain't working. So did everything I could, and I think that was another lesson. And I was really frustrated at the time until the second to last day we were there, and I was like, "Oh yeah, I'm not supposed to be doing this. I'm not supposed to be worrying about work." Now, given my plan was do it all the first day we get there, it didn't work from the first day, and I should have taken that message and been like, I told myself I needed a break. I told myself that I needed the time with my family, that I scarcely get now.
Yeah, well, not without reminding yourself of where you're trying to, to be and to stay present, then it's sitting on the back of your mind the whole time that you're trying to you're focused on that instead of actually enjoying that time and being present.
So I made sure that when I realized that I became present, and we got back from up north on Monday, and Tuesday I spent all day learning how to edit a podcast and get it out. And it just lo and behold, it was 11:59 when all of the videos were able to be loaded, and I was able to click the buttons on the website, and so we were able to launch on the 8th, which was that given. I gave up 4 times during the day. I was like, I fucked up editing. I have to rewatch the podcast 4 times. So there's a reason that I hate it. There's a reason that I know that all of the things that we're vulnerable with, but we just have to accept them. But once I launched it, by the time I got back in bed and then realized some things were wrong with the website, meaning shit was out of stock that shouldn't have been, I ran back into the office for another 2 hours. I went to bed at about 3 a.m. I woke back up at about 6:30, met the guys over at the site for their last day there, almost last day, still punch, whatever. And the amount of people that were like, hey, we saw the podcast, launched, and did you launch websites and da da da? Hey, I'm listening to the podcast. I'm literally standing around the site, and there's like 7 of the guys with earbuds in, with at least one in, and they're like, "We're listening to you right now." I mean, my neighbor across the street that day was like, "What a surreal thing! I'm standing outside of my door, and I look up, and you're driving out of your driveway, and I'm listening to you on the podcast." And I was like, it was such a fucking weird thing.
Yeah.
But it felt, and it's like I should have been felt with like joy at the moment, but it took me a while. And then my brain, it's funny how good the response was. And my brain still tried to take me to a negative space that night. That night, I still, I dealt with that headache all day, complete migraine, couldn't deal with sunlight. Got home, laid in bed, tried to get myself back up and moving. I still had my tasks to do for the B.A.D operation. I waited until like 9 o'clock at night to crunch everything in, and it was not fun. And I tried to go to bed, and I literally laying there in bed with the TV off and everything else. And it's 1 o'clock in the morning, and I somehow managed to get out of bed, go out into the office, which at that time was like the biggest task ever in my mind to get myself to do it. And I grabbed my journal, and I went back into the kitchen, and I turned on the stove light, and I sat there for 3 hours journaling. And I won't get into it today because I really want to have a whole separate talk about green card and red card and what I kind of came up with as a system to help myself. But I basically, in the small description of it, I sat there for 3 hours and wrote out every negative thing that I possibly could think about how I could, like, what if this doesn't work out? What if people don't support it? What if I don't get the orders in to help push this along? What if we're not able to do the events? What if I just left a job site to one of my best friends to run and my family who's working for me? And what if I just did all of this for nothing? And what if all of the sacrifices that they made to go into work every day so I could be here building the podcast room, so I could be here learning how to do everything, learning how to make everything in-house, trying to plan everything. What if everything that I just did isn't going to work out, and all of their sacrifices that they made weren't worth it? So I had all of that written down in a journal. And then I ran out of negative things to say. And so I switched over to the positive. And so I don't know what kept me sitting there for 3 hours. I think it was just the realization that I had already learned, and I have learned in the past, that no matter what I do, I'm not going to go back to sleep until I get out every single thought.
Yeah.
And I think that in turn really helped me. I was able to, I went back into bed and I crashed.
Yeah. I mean, I know I talked to you the next day, and I almost got a hold of you that night and didn't. But I talked to you the next day, and it sounded like you felt a lot better. Like a lot of the stress.
I had a lot of clarity. A lot of clarity.
And then you and I talked, because I've got my own, crap going on. And I thought it was really interesting that you gave me your suggestion for the red card, green card, and looking at those things. And literally, like, I have 2 notebooks that I use when I journal. I've been avoiding it lately yes, but when I do journal, I have a red notebook and a green notebook, and I write out all the bad, everything that I want to say that I hold in, and all the crappy scenarios that I envision. Same thing. I try and get it all out, and then I write, something. I write positive things, or like I'll typically write a letter to myself in the same way that I would like one of my kids or a friend or someone. I try to write it to myself in a positive light, and to give myself some
Yeah.
motivation and
Yeah, and I think we talked
clarity.
about that on the last podcast.
But it was just weird that you had developed such a similar, like they're the same thing. It's just a different way of going about it. And
yeah,
it's interesting.
Make a side note
To go just a hair bit further with that, I did not. This morning I journaled in a gray notebook, but I still have the red and green stickies that I got from you the other day.
We'll talk about it on the next episode, because I really want to try and unpack. I want to unpack and try to understand if that is a good tool to use.
Method.
But people get the gist of it, kind of, positive, negative.
So this morning was my first time journaling again in a long time, like a real journal entry. And I looked through some journals that date back 7 years, and it was interesting. I think that the red and green concept worked pretty well, because it allowed me to take a look at all of the negative things and scenarios and fears and worries that I had. Got to see it all from years ago. And, then how I tried to coach myself through that, and it was really interesting to see different patterns and cycles, things that I've grown through, things that I struggle with still. I think it's a really good concept, because you're looking at the extremes in both of those sides of those situations. You're getting the really negative side of it, which we all have no problem getting to mentally,
No, it's the fastest thing that you get to.
And I can journal all day in that style of just writing out my frustrations and all of that, or what I'm worried about, anxieties about things, but taking the time to write things that are positive, or, using gratitude, or coaching yourself, being more delicate with yourself, and having compassion for yourself. It's nice to see that too, because I know I've been beating myself up for a lot longer than 7 years, So it's nice to see that, see that side of yourself.
Well, you remind yourself that there is some positivity about you. You remind yourself that you have been nice to yourself. And again, that the positive always outweighs the negative. It's just we're so good as human beings. We're so good at letting the negative be louder. Yep. And it always will be. I always compare it to the same thing. Like when you're talking about social media and there's all of these crazy people on it, the only reason that you hear that more, the only reason you hear the bad more than you do the good, is because the people who are talking about the bad are spewing it out there way more than everybody else. And your brain works the exact same way. The more negative that you talk, the louder that becomes. But when you choose to allow that positive to talk for a second, it drowns out a bunch of that negative.
Absolutely.
And you just have to keep talking positive with yourself, about yourself, with other people, about other people. Do everything possible to look at life in a different light.
Yeah, I mean, I'm reading a book, or listening to a book, right now, an audiobook, and the last chapter that I listened to talked about your thinking and how you think and how much your thoughts absolutely create the world around you. And if you're thinking negative things, you're going to see negative things. If you're looking to gratitude and things that you're grateful for and happy for, looking at the positive outlook in situations instead of worrying about the negative, it will absolutely change your life.
Yeah.
It just takes time and consistency beyond what a lot of us have patience for. A lot of us, the next shitty thing happens before you've made it through the first one.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the times, and it just feels like the hits keep on coming. I have no problem going through the list of shit that I've dealt with, whether it's self-inflicted or not. It never feels good, but
What's the book? Because I mean, I want people like I want people to know the books that we're reading, and if they choose to, they can go along with, and then eventually we'll talk about
for sure
what ones we're reading.
I don't want to butcher anything, so I will suggest hopping on our website to. It's in that list.
Okay.
Maybe I'll do a post highlighting the book.
Okay.
On social media.
Well, you can just
when we drop this, I'll
at least
throw it
for this
there.
one. What's the book?
I know that it's a. I really don't. I really don't want to butcher it. It's a Dale Carnegie book.
Okay.
The book is How to Stop Worrying and Start Living by Dale Carnegie.
Okay.
It's a good book.
Yeah, and he's wrote a lot of good things.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
there's a lot of good wisdom in there. That's just one of the chapters in there, but I have had to work extremely hard through therapy and journaling and in my own ways to correct my self-talk, which is obviously directly correlates with the way that you think about things. And it's amazing how much it really does play a part in your attitude and your reactions about everything you're going through in life. It really does play a big part.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm not good at following my advice.
No.
Everyone knows. I try.
No, you're trying. You know, and that's the important thing. And I want to talk about the tools of books. Me and you were kind of talking about it the other day. The idea that we have behind the best action is distraction, it's been around for thousands of years. And there's so much information out there online. And I think that with that, I mean, that's amazing. You know, we're in the information age, and you can find anything you need to know. Fuck, use AI. You can find out anything. Half of the things that I've been able to do is because of AI.
Yeah.
I try not to use it to make our posts because I want to be authentic. But I used it as a tool to be able to build this thing a little bit faster.
Yeah, it's easy to get lost in the sauce, though.
Yeah, it really is. And so
information overload.
Yeah. And I want to
we want to be able to embody the qualities and the things that we're learning, not just be able to regurgitate them.
Right.
Which is so common. I could
quote spew out
stuff
things
from
all the
books
time
that I've read for sure, but I also want to be applying that information.
Yeah.
Putting it into work in my own life.
And so when I say that, you know, that like this is the information age and there's so much out there and you can find anything that you want to online, there is a part of me that doesn't believe that. There's a part of me that believes that there's a lot of intelligence and there's a lot of knowledge locked into books that while you get a synopsis of it, if you look it up, you don't get the feeling that it can provide. You can sometimes.
When you don't get the full context of what, you know,
where it came
that
from.
That great quote that you see online in that meme or whatever it is, you know, online, that awesome quote that you're hanging your whole life philosophy onto actually comes from a book with chapters.
Dude, there's some
lots of words in
there's
them.
There's
a whole bunch more positive or deeper understanding in that same book that like some people just don't. Oh, this is a great quote, but they don't think to read the book.
There was a funny reel
to get the full concept, the full spectrum of that concept. You know, it does help to read the full book.
There was a funny reel, and I forget the podcast, dude. It's beyond funny. I love it. Because he just pranks. He's just like kind of pranking people, but he's sitting there like straight face, and he's talking to Chris Williamson, and he's like, "Let's go through a bunch of." He's like, "You like quotes on your podcast? Let's go through a bunch of quotes and see who you think said them." And I can't remember the name of the quote or like what the quote said, but he says it and he goes, "Who do you think that is?" And he goes, "Albert Einstein." He goes, "Adolf Hitler."
I think I remember seeing that.
I was like, but that right there is like, that goes with what you're saying. You can be living your entire life based off of a quote, but you don't know where it comes from. You have to take all of that context. And so when we're talking about using books for tools, I really think that there's so much out there, and I'm learning this as I go through it. I'm learning that the content that I'm allowing in my life isn't helping me through social media, through, you know, some of the people that are around me, through some of the emotions that I let myself get to. That's all content that gets pumped into me. And I really think that, you know, between journaling, between reading books, physical exercise, all of that's going to be, dude, you are so close. all of that's going to be really detrimental to my change.
Mm-hmm.
And, the book that I'm reading right now is The Art of Exceptional Living by Jim Rohn. I love him as a public speaker. I wonder if he's still around.
I think he passed. I think so.
I really love the book. It's only like 180 pages, and it's basically his like seminar, his talk in a book. And so I've listened to enough of his seminars on YouTube that I hear it in his voice, which is great. I'm sure there's an audio book of it, but I'd like to have
have the audio book.
Okay. I like having the physical book of this in my hand. And there's a portion in it where he talks about the 3 things that you leave behind. And one is photos, one is journals, and one is your library. And so I've been trying to take those into an account after I had kind of resonated with that with that
thinking.
Yeah, with that thinking. Sorry. And so the photos, I've been trying to take more photos of everything that we're doing, and it helps with what we're doing here because I can technically use them as content and stuff too. The journals, I've been writing a lot more in my journals, and I'm ready to have a stack of them. When it comes to the books, me and Cassidy already have a library,
I know I've always wanted to write a book for my kids that gives them insight into how I think and how I feel about life in case something happens to me. And I've been not in the greatest of places in the last couple of months or couple of weeks. And when I've been really avoidant with journaling, and the other day you said something like, if you were to journal, that would be
the book to your
kids.
Book to your
kids.
Yeah, absolutely.
And when you said that, it was like, you're right. Like that's
the
how I need to do it.
Those 3 things that we leave behind. So like when you're journaling and stuff, I mean, his whole entire description of it is great, and I think everybody should go and read it. I find it online if you can just find that synopsis. It's really good. And so I was talking to Cassidy about it, and what we're gonna do is, she's been asking me to remove the TV from the bedroom for forever, and I always use the excuse of no, I it's so funny to me saying it right now. No, I want it because when I get sick, I just want to lay in bed and watch TV. And I'm like, I'm basing my positive experience of what my future could be because I might get sick and might need to watch TV.
And your nightly routine.
Well, that's what I mean. And so like I work so hard during the day mentally and only sometimes physically now. And I'm working so hard during that I almost need a release. And I'm like, I just need something that isn't my thoughts in front of me.
I can absolutely relate to that.
And so now we're going to remove the TV, and I'm going to put up bookshelves around our entire room. I have to figure out how to work our dressers and everything else into it. But the point is the pictures on my phone, those are all around right now because they're digitally around, but I'm going to start printing off all of those. We're going to have a photo section, and I want to have a journal section, and I want to start building the library inside of our bedroom.
I'm going to use the axe.
Okay. We might end up in a Shining situation. Here's Chris.
Shut the camera off.
To David Goggin of Flies.
Mm-hmm.
Who's going to carry the boats?
It's a tough ass fly.
Who's going to carry the boats?
A fly.
Yeah. I know that you've been going through a really tough, shitty spot right now. And I think that we've talked about what your priorities should be. I'm not your fucking therapist.
No, but it's easy to know from me personally and in life what, it involves.
It's just a little bit
doing the right thing for my kids, not just myself.
Yeah.
And so it kind of takes it out of my own, myself and a lot of people that I know. We have the situations that we're trying to deal with, and they can be really difficult. And it's really easy to give yourself outs, stay off the hook, and manipulate the facts or the feelings in some way to keep them going, if it's a negative cycle, or to, let it beat you up, to basically avoid the reality of it. And for me, whenever I tie, my kids into it, it makes it bigger than myself because a lot of what I've had to understand about myself and go through and improve is rooted in things that, I developed early on.
Mhm.
And I have to be mindful about how I affect my kids in that way as well. It's a lot bigger than my issues, and how I deal with them right now have a much larger ripple effect than just my life.
So when we were talking, earlier on this week, it was hard for you to get there because me and you had talked and you were asking about the why. Like what should I be working on?
Yeah, I mean, I
And
feel,
that's, to me, that's still, it's not the what, like that's still considered to me the why, because you're still trying to figure out why you're in this place and what you can do to get out of it, and like what you can do differently and where you should be working on yourself. And I told you it was everything. What I want to do is give you kind of the outlet to say why the why doesn't matter.
well, the why has always been really important to me. And I think that's something that I realized as I was reading through my old journals, was that I'm always searching for the why. It's like this thing that I'm always doing, trying to figure out all of the ins and outs of whatever the scenario or situation might be. It's like I got to find this.
And if I can just interrupt for
Mhm.
1 sec, I think that is important.
Mhm.
And I think that anybody trying to find the reason why to get better is really good.
Yeah.
And I just think that when you're making the change, that's when you can't pay attention.
Well, when I'm struggling, when I'm personally struggling through something, I know that the why is going to come to me, but it's usually down the road after I've worked through the issue and have some better perspective on it. Then the why makes sense, and that answer is given to me, or at least understood in a better way. And for myself, being somebody that enjoys reading and learning about myself and all of these things, when I struggle hard because I feel like I, am always trying to have a deeper understanding of where I'm at, where my head's at, and what's going on. And I try to practice healthy things in order to get there. However, I have been avoiding journaling for a while because I think there's so much that I like. Putting that down on paper means a lot. It's really offloading all of the extreme feelings and the negative things into something. And I'm not a fan of seeing myself struggling in the same way with the same thing, that if I was to if I was to just openly share my experience and life experience with this specific topic, I think everybody would understand on a much deeper level that it's been a choice to continue to repeat things and keep myself stuck to some degree. And it's tough, but there's got to be a cutoff to that. There's got to be a cutoff to myself. And that means that I have to do something that I don't want to do and that I'm avoiding, which in this case I know has been journaling. It's like I don't want to see my pain on paper.
Yeah.
It makes it even that more real.
And I think also you don't want to see, I think when it comes down to that, when you're saying that you have a choice to a degree in it, I think it's a major degree. And I think that when you write that down, I think the reason that we avoid that is because it makes it our fault for continuing to keep that going.
There's that. It makes me angry. That aspect makes me angry. But then it also, when I have it on paper, it means that now I'm seeing it. I'm going to be able to see what the issue is. The answer is going to be very clear to me. And once it's very clear, if I don't choose to act on it in the way that I know that I should, then I'm choosing the pain that I'm feeling.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm really used to that pain. I'm really used to carrying it. I don't know if part of it is wondering what it would be like to leave a lot of that behind and what life would look like and feel like without this overarching negative force that has come and gone. Especially knowing that I could affect different, different elements of the issue. But anyways, getting back to what you were saying.
No, that's okay. I want to keep going.
Yeah, I mean, getting back to the writing and the journal part, and trying
Chris,
to
that's not
trying to solve the why.
Yeah, well, I don't want to walk away from what you were just saying, because I think that there's a degree of that where, like, we know what you're going through. We don't need to, go into depth, but
it affects a lot. It affects my personal outlook on myself as a father, as a person, all around. And I feel like I put in a lot of effort and intention into things, and I get upset when I'm not getting the return that I feel like
you deserve.
Like it's like
Yeah.
it's
And
so obvious. Why isn't this happening the way that it should be? Why can't someone else get it?
Me and you had talked about that prior, where you're like, I've done all of this work and they don't see it, and I do the same thing. We all do the same thing, but you don't ever get the gold star that you are expecting.
Right.
Expectations don't live in reality.
Yeah. There's a chance that I might not ever get the outcome that I want or have wanted for so long. So it's, it's dealing with trying to understand and accept that I'm not, no matter what the effort or amount of effort has been, I'm not necessarily going to get the outcome that I thought that work would fruit.
The gold star that people expect to get for hard work, for pouring everything into everything in that you possibly could, it doesn't always come, but it doesn't mean that you did things the wrong way.
Yeah, that's I think one of the very tough aspects of this whole dynamic and situation that I'm experiencing. That's what's been tough for me is, regardless of the specific outcome, I assumed that no matter what, as long as the intention was there and consistent, that I would have a form of the result that I wanted. And journaling today and reading old journal entries was a big reminder of my desire for that. To always, that's always the desire, and that the effort has been put in, and the energy, and I've approached things as humbly and properly as possible with the right intentions. It's everything, all of the decisions surrounding this area have been based on care and concern.
Yeah.
And
I think
it angers me deeply that there's not a return on that, because the intentions, not just for myself, but everyone, were rooted in very positive, healthy things.
I think I'm going to do something that you're not going to enjoy. And what I'm going to say is, me and you spoke, and I gave you an idea of earlier, before my truck overheated, gave you an idea of creating some kind of time limit of us talking about that kind of negative aspect in your life. And I think that would benefit people if you're really going through a fucking hard time right now. And if you're really going through something that is creating your brain to spiral. And if you're going to have your phone out anyway, pull out your timer and try to only allow yourself to think about that thing throughout the day for 1 hour, and then try to slowly work that down. And I promise you, as you do that, your steps to progressing will compound, and all of a sudden you won't be thinking about it, but for 5 minutes throughout the day.
Yeah.
And so me and you had talked, and I told you that I'm here to help with the situation by reminding you, like, you can call me anytime, anybody can call me anytime, and I'll talk to them. But I will not allow, at least with me talking, I won't allow you to continue to talk about something, because if I am, I'm letting you spiral with me involved as well. And then I become a part of that spiral.
It's keeping us from being present at the same time.
And keeping us both from progressing. And so I think that...
I'm glad you brought it up. I'm glad you reminded me about the timer. It's something that I have done in the past for myself, and I think a lot of people...
I find that if you go and buy a $15 stopwatch, it'll fucking help you.
Right. Any of that, it definitely helps. I think for me, I catch myself thinking without realizing that I am, where I'm just...
Everybody does.
Absolutely. That's what I want to get at, is that before I know it, I'm already on the subject.
Yes.
And I'm either in the past trying to fix things that have already happened, trying to have conversations that have already happened, like the outcome is already shaken out, and I'm trying to have an old conversation or
that didn't work out in the past.
Interpret something that's going on and applying it to now. And before I realize it, I've been doing it for an hour. I'm sitting there thinking about 100 different things
that you've already thought about.
That I've already thought about and said. I've already tried. I've tried to do, all of those things. And so I think as you begin that, to not beat yourself up about the time, but as soon as you become aware of it, and if it's beyond that time, to do your best to walk away from it.
Right. Try to snap out of it. Try to be present. And even if it's for a moment that you come back to being present, like that's where the growth has already started happening. If you feel like you're lost, me and you talked about this as well. If you feel like you're lost, if you feel like you're having an out of body experience and you're not in control of your own life, even just that feeling alone means you're making progress. If you can realize that you're in a place that you don't want to be, that is the biggest step forward that you can make, because that will then nag you towards greatness.
Yeah.
You all of a sudden will keep yourself accountable. And I don't mean it'll always happen in a day. It could take 2-3 years for this to happen.
Mm-hmm.
For me, it's taken, I'm still on this journey and I'm 6 years in, but having that feeling means that you are being self-aware and you're willing to at least think about making the changes that you need to make in your life.
Yeah. And I mean, when you are in a really dark place, being able to snap out of that for 30 seconds or a minute and building on that, there was a time I'm talking about these issues now, having dealt with them for a long time and having a lot of perspective on it and having worked through some detachment to them. And there were times though it wasn't like that. There were times that it consumed me. I've lost jobs over it. I've lost opportunities over it, lost a lot of myself over it. And trying to get back to that, you really want to take whatever positivity you can get from it. And in those times that it was really a dark place, just having a minute of not focusing on it and the pain felt great, you know, and then you just try and build on it, daily. I'm glad you reminded me.
Yeah.
Of trying to put it in its own place.
It needs to have limits and boundaries.
And if I don't, I'm bringing those feelings that I already went through and already worked through, bringing them back into my present.
You're bringing them right back to the surface after you've pushed them away.
Yeah, and I'm working on then I'm dealing with the old stuff as well as the present, and it just compounds and snowballs.
And nobody can live like that. And so that's definitely a good tactic is, go get yourself a stopwatch, use your Apple Watch, use whatever you can, use your phone, use a fucking sundial. Our time is up.
Yeah. Welcome to Chris's fucking mental health breakdown. I'm going to have a fucking rage room episode.
I want to thank everybody for listening, and I want to thank everybody for the support, for, wearing the gear, for spreading the message. We're going to, again, try to do all of these great things that we talked about in this episode. And I love everybody. I mean, we're living it too. We're trying to figure it out just like everybody, but we're trying to put the resources together. And trying to show everybody that these influencers and all of these people that you listen to that pretend to have it figured out, they're figuring out too. They just might be showing you the end result. And I really want to show everybody. That's the biggest thing with this podcast. I really want to show everybody that it takes the steps to get there. And I'm starting from ground zero now. I'm going to be, in fact, and I'm going to make a note of it right now. Like I'm going to be trying, I am trying to lose weight right now. I'm trying to get back and being fit. And by next episode, I will have a goal weight. I need to figure this out by myself, not on camera, but I need to have a goal weight and a goal time set up. And I will be giving the audience updates and just trying to be a part of our community, trying to do better things and trying to help everybody do great things.
Yeah, I'll do it with you. I haven't been taking the greatest care of myself through all the stressful transitions I've had going on, and I'm not eating enough, sleeping enough, or working out enough. So I'm going to also set up some goals for myself.
I love it.
We can let everyone see how we suck and want to get better.
Yeah.
You know?
All right. Well, thank you, everybody.
Thank you guys. Be easy on us. Love you guys.
They are easy on us.